Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
We also got this little thing called a podcast below in the description. Check it out. A lot of people listening. You should too.
Yeah, as somebody on Twitter said, it's not a suggestion, it's a fact. They're like, they just repeat all the stuff that we say here. So here we say it. All right, here we go. Dan Patrick, John, on his show, reading text messages, said this. These are two different sources. One told him Kyle Shanahan loves Mac Jones, but personnel department is trying to get him to take Trey Lance. That's one source. Kyle likes Mac Jones. Department scouts trying to get him to take Trey Lance. Source number two, and source number three, two teams who both need QBs say they believe Mac Jones to the Niners is a done deal. So that's Dan Patrick reading his cell phone. What do you think?
Don't do it, Kyle. Casey, John, like, no, Kyle. Kyle, please. Kyle, just listen to me. Come on, Kyle. And Jed's like, Kyle, you can do whatever you want. It's your call. Listen, you and I have lived very closely in this administration. We've been to countless practices, interviewed John Lynch, just been around the program since they've been here. And we obviously were very close to the program and the administration with Balky, even back to Harbaugh, but with Trent, with Chip. We've seen them all. I'd say one thing pretty consistent with this administration, meaning Kyle, John, and just the way they've operated, has been silence. They put a premium on an organization that I would say was very leak heavy, and not leak like this. To me, has jumped the shark with leaks. But I'm even just saying, you always felt like you knew what was going on with the Niners. That has not been the case, especially the last several drafts. I'd say if we like Trent Williams, I'd say is an example of like the whole league knew the Niners were going to try to keep him. Like you're not even trying to keep that secret, right? Because ultimately Trent. I read something the other day. They desperately, and I think this was pretty clear, were trying to sign him during the season, and Trent Williams was adamant, like, I'm hitting free agency, even though it's pretty clear by his actions, was like, I just want to be paid handsomely. I don't want to leave, but free agency is going to get me a little more money. He played it right, but the whole league knew that, like, the Niners weren't going to let him walk or anything, or at least they were going to do everything possible. I don't buy this one in the sense that the whole league just knows their actions. I actually think it's pretty clear, and we're saying this over and over, that they're doing this on purpose. They want, because the weird part about this leak is very believable, right? When leaks would come out about Balky and Harbaugh, or even like Chip Kelly and Howie Roseman, or just some of the Grigson stuff. Once you get to a point, it just became like, yeah, I could see that, right? Yeah, Harbaugh told Jed, only grown men. Like, that's believable.
Right.
That might be the most furthest from the truth thing ever. Jim Harbaugh might actually said, Jed, come on in. Who knows? But most people just believe, like, yeah, Jim said it. This is like, yeah, he loved Kirk Cousins. He loved Matt Ryan. I bet he likes this guy. And it's just everyone believes it. And people around the league, if you just look at what he's played with, it's a very, if you're actively really pushing this message, I do think it's one that can just stick. Even if you plan on doing the complete opposite, which I do believe in my core they plan on doing, I think it's kind of genius because, like we've talked about from the jump, they don't control. Like, we know Trevor Lawrence is going one. Urban Meyer's basically admitted it. Until the Jets, like, Sam Darnold's still there. I saw Penei Sewell worked out today. He's got pretty sweet measurements. There's still some moving parts out there, right? With other quarterbacks, with maybe they trade back. Who knows?
And doesn't it feel like Joe Douglas is cut from the same cloth as John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan in terms of the Jets thing? We've been talking for a while. Like, are they going to comment on Sam Darnold? They have not said a word. There are no Jets rumors. Everyone thinks they're taking Zach Wilson.
He's an Ozzie Newsome guy.
But it doesn't come from – yeah, I mean, I know it's not quite – he came from the Eagles, but this does not feel like a Howie Eagles situation. But Howie's the same deal in that a lot is out there. The Niners is nothing's out there. Good luck. Howie is a lot's out there. Good luck figuring out what's real. So I do think if you're the Niners, you're just
last year with Jalen Hurts, right? You didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I'd be really uncomfortable with the Jets, and I think we just assume, they know Saleh, they know LaFleur, they're getting information. Well, guess who's not cutting Robert Saleh's check anymore? Jed York. So he doesn't owe them anything, right? He may not be telling them anything. Now, I would imagine they have some idea of what they would like, more than normal, but they didn't trade up to 2, they traded up to 3. And so what's happening at 2 is out of their control until they're on the clock, then it's in their control at number 3. If they could have traded up to 2, they would have.
Yeah, I mean, you've said this the night the trade happened, or maybe maybe it was the weekend after, and we kind of had a week to think about it, or a couple days to think about it. Wouldn't the Jets, if they were open-minded trading Sam Darnold, how are they getting better than 3-1s, especially knowing their relationship with Howie? They could have just got back to 6, and they would have gained a first-round pick, right? I mean, it's a pretty seamless transition.
Yeah.
Once, if you're them, you start adding up. 4 quarterbacks might go 1 through 4. So if you're at 6, you're going to end up with one of the 2 tackles, or Kyle Pitts, or a guy that's viewed as a can't miss prospect, right? If you're planning on keeping Sam Darnold, I think it's fair to say, are they talking through it? Like, if you could convince me, because I do believe the Niners made the move at 3 with the guy, meaning Kyle's guy, and I still think it's Justin Fields, but I could see it being Trey Lance, and if it is Mac Jones, I'm not going to dispute that that's not a possibility. They had his number 1 pick, like, of that group when they made the deal. Now, where I think they get nervous is, like, what if Zach Wilson's more of a media hype thing, and the Falcons were to trade up and get Trey Lance, and that guy that Kyle had picked was Trey Lance to made the 3, and now it's like, well, I don't want to really take Justin Fields or Mac Jones at number 3 overall, given what I just gave up. I think that's where I think it's fair to say they're kind of operating from.
Yeah.
Right? They have their guy. This is my belief. They have their guy. They are terrified that if their guy gets out, maybe they know. Here's the other thing. What Adam Peters is good at, I think when I'm working for Howie and knowing him really well, what that organization is really good at is really having detectives to know what the other team knows, what other teams like. So if I know, like, hey, man, I've heard David Tepper and Matt Rule are all in on Trey Lance. It's like, well, shit, so are we. Well, what if, like, he's got nothing to lose? He's desperate. He just wants to win. He's got more money than God. Like, he's a stock trader. Like, I could see him trading like 4-1s to get. He's like, Matt Rule, do what you got to do, bro. I just paid you $75 million. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, the Jets have traded with the Panthers for 3-1s, and they only have to drop to 8. They get Trey Lance, and Kyle's like, oh, fuck. You would not want that out there. It does not behoove you right now, if you're them, to let people know who you want. Truly, right?
Absolutely.
Hell, Urban Meyer barely kind of admits it. He, like, told Peter King, like, yeah, that's where we're leaning. It's like, Urban, just what are you doing this for? But there's like this cosmetic theater to it all. But with Urban, but not with the Niners. Like, there is maneuvering, right, that you can't control.
The other thing that so how about the rumor 2? So Dan said done deal. 2 teams who both need a quarterback, both believe Mac Jones a done deal. Like, do
you believe people actually think that?
Maybe some people believe it, but I do think I would bet if we traced all these rumors back to, like, patient 0, like, all these rumors that everybody's talking about probably originate from, like, 1 or 2 things, and the general belief that this is who Kyle has always played with, so this is who he'll like, right? I doubt there's, like, 35 different people out there or 20 different people out there who each have independently talked to someone on the Niners, who each have told them, yeah, Mac Jones is our guy. So unless you know it from the Niners, which I don't think you would, you don't really know it.
Well, football's a little like the high school quad, just because it is kind of an insulated world where all these guys, all the decision makers are rep by 2 or 3 agents. They've all kind of worked in, there's probably 2 degrees separation with every head coach, right? Or / GM. The connections are crazy. That even if I don't get the words from them, I can feel pretty good about my information coming from a secondhand source.
Right. But if I was
Arthur
Schefter
Smith,
and Schefter just talked to some other GM, and now he's talking to me, and we exchanged a little chit chat, yeah.
But if I'm the Falcons GM and you're Arthur Smith, the new coach, and me and you are sitting there, like, right now, Friday afternoon, and we love Justin Fields, I think we both would be like, I don't feel confident that they're just going to pull the trigger on Mac Jones, right?
Right.
Like, we should stay locked in with the Jets if they're open-minded. And would it behoove us to give next year's one to get the guy that we're smitten for and we think can change our franchise, right?
Yeah. And I also think, back to that other point,
behooves the Jets also to have that out there.
100%. And I think who it really benefits, like when Dan says he talked to two teams who both need QBs, think Mac Jones a done deal. Let's just say, for the sake of making a hypothetical scenario here, that the 2 teams he talked to were Atlanta, who have the 4th pick, and Carolina, who have the 8th pick, and let's say both want quarterbacks. Well, it's in Carolina's best interest that Atlanta believes that the Niners are taking Mac Jones and that they don't have to move up ahead of the Niners. That's if Carolina wants to move up ahead of the Niners. And it's in Atlanta's best interest that Carolina thinks, well, we don't have to get up ahead of the Niners. We just have to, maybe we can do a deal with Miami. Maybe we get to 6, and maybe our guy will fall to us. I don't know. It's a little harder for Carolina, but I definitely think it's in Atlanta's best interest because I think anybody who's thinking about trading with the Jets wants there to be as little competition for that pick as possible. Again, I think that's like a deep hypothetical, but I just think there's a lot of motivations here that are even probably beyond the Niners' motivations that give people reasons to spread lies. Here's the other thing about this.
Because the Niners can't take 3 quarterbacks, right? Whoever they don't take,
that's
teams
right.
are going to be interested in the other 2 guys.
Right. The other thing I was thinking about was, did you see the story that Steve Berman wrote today in The Athletic about Javier Vega, who I know listens to the pod, tweets at us, does a lot of work.
I skimmed it, yeah.
Fourth and Gold podcast. And basically what he wrote was that in January he tweeted...
Oh, the Stafford thing. Yeah.
Stafford and the Niners are getting closer. The information I'm receiving, the final details being hammered out. And then when it didn't happen, he just got blitzed on the internet. And I think when you see something like that happen, you assume, well, I guess the guy was wrong. But maybe he was right. Like, I do think that the reason the Niners trade for this 3rd pick happened when it happened is because they were trying to get Deshaun Watson. And then they couldn't pursue that any longer. And so they had to pivot. I think they would have traded that plus another. If they were willing to trade this for the 3rd pick, they would have done it for Deshaun. So when we talk about what Kyle likes, I think he wanted Mac, and I do buy he was trying to get Stafford. Like, I buy both of those things, John.
Well, what if their offer for Stafford that they felt was
Sorry,
like
did I say wanted Mac? I meant Deshaun.
No, yeah. What if their offer for Stafford was a 1st, a 3rd, and Jimmy Garoppolo? They're like, God, we're basically giving you, obviously, a 1st, which is pick 12, a 3rd round pick, and Jimmy, who we think, I think it's fair to say on the going market, whether you want to pivot off this guy, you probably get like a 3rd, so he's got some value. Then all of a sudden they come in with, well, we'd rather have Goff and the extra 1st rounder, and the Niners like, we're not going to give you 2 1st rounders for a guy in their mid-30s. And you see the picture that kind of went viral of him on the plane yesterday? He had surgery on his thumb. Not that that's the end of the world.
That's not even the story. People are missing the story.
That he's flying commercial when he's worth $300 million?
Why is he flying commercial? I saw Kelly Stafford the other day Instagram some post from a private suite at a private jet tarmac like, hey, you guys, if you ever want to fly through LA, I recommend, whatever the thing is called. And now he's on United?
Yeah, he is by far rich enough to never fly commercial again. Right?
Maybe he's a big environmental guy, but...
Yeah, I would doubt it. It didn't really even look like they were in 1st class, maybe business class.
It did not look like 1st class.
It was pretty eye-opening, but I'm with you. I think
Humble roots. # blue-collar quarterback.
I think right now in this offseason has been pretty crazy, right? Just the action on Stafford. I think there was legit action coming from all different angles. The action on Deshaun Watson, and then that just halted. The action on the Niners, who clearly sniffed up basically between 2 and 6. It was on record that they were trying to move up, and the Dolphins that they gave a ton for, they admitted they traded a premium for. To me, you don't trade a premium to get up early than to just let everyone know what you're doing when you don't control what you're doing, right? Because technically, it's not out of the realm possibility someone could trade up to get Mac Jones at 2. That would be insane, I think. But, I mean, shit, if the Niners take him at 3, who's to say someone doesn't love him to take him at 2?
Now that would be the story of the draft. If
Mac Jones went to 3, it's going to be the story of the draft.
Yeah.
Regardless,
yes.
Because even with the hype.
It's as you kind of pointed out the other day, it's the pivot point of this draft right now. This is the first. It feels like the draft starts at 3. Now maybe the Jets change that, but that's what it feels like. The draft starts at 3.
I would say as long as Sam Darnold is still on the team, I would hesitate to say that. If he was traded, I'd 100% agree. But it's are they just waiting till draft night? Are they waiting till after the pick? Do you agree it's a little weird?
Yes, I absolutely agree. It's why I say if I'm the Niners, I am holding my breath until I'm on the clock.
Yeah.
Because they're playing the same game you're playing, and you're playing the game.
Well, if Sam Darnold stays, it'd be pretty shocking if they didn't trade the pick somewhere within the top 10, right? And just move back a couple spots, accumulate another 1st-round pick, start loading the team more.
Yeah.
Still get a sweet player.
Jamar Chase.
Wait, you're going to... Yeah, or Kyle Pitts. What if the Dolphins came out of nowhere and came up and got... it's you never know. A lot of moving parts in this draft, which is incredible. This is the best draft lead up since we've been really covering the draft, I think, by a mile. Now, we got skin in the game here, but it is pretty cool. There just are a lot of moving parts, the quarterbacks, the unknowns. A couple years ago was sweet, the Darnold Baker, because that was a lot of unknown in that draft. This one feels a little even stronger, a little crazier.